Hi, everybody. So I have Merlin here. He's fresh out of the tub. He has a little injury, and I want to show it to you as I have him here to treat it and talk to you about it for just a minute. Right here on his hand, I just happened to notice he has a little sore right here. What is that from? Well, he was shedding, okay? And sometimes the shed gets a little stuck either on if it's on their hands or their fingers or their lower arms. Sometimes it comes off partially, but it gets kind of held up and doesn't come off all the way. You can see that on this same hand, some of the fingers have shed, like those two right here, and then a couple of them have not. Okay, so the shed was still hanging on. It was off at his wrist, but it was still hanging on. And when he got in the bath, water got in between the shed that was ready to come off and his hand and his new skin. And so that caused that little sore. So my husband usually gives them a bath, and so I wasn't aware that we were having this issue until I picked him up yesterday. He was looking kind of lethargic and kind of like, I'm just not having a good time. His beard wasn't blackened up, but he just didn't look like himself. And so, yeah, so that's been a little rough. So I picked him up and just kind of gave him a once over, which is what I normally do when somebody's just not looking like themselves. You know, I checked the pores, his femoral pores, checked his vent, make sure it wasn't being held open by anything. You know, worked my way up, and, everything looked okay until I touched his hand accidentally when I was trying to look on the other side, and he kind of twitched. And so I kind of touched it again gently. He twitched again. So there's some pain involved here. So let this be a lesson. Keep an eye on your animals when their shed's not all the way off. And also, please make sure when you take them out of the tub that instead of just putting them right back in their enclosure or letting them run around, dry their hands and their feet, please. Okay, just really give them a good dry. Make sure there's no leftover water hanging around because, this little injury, which I'm treating. I mean, we're using some iodine. We're using some colloidal silver. If that doesn't work, I have a zinc-based ointment that I think will do well. So I'm treating it twice a day. So anyway, we're keeping tabs on it, but those little sores can hurt. This is the same thing that can happen if they have shed on their back that hasn't come off, and you can see it's their second or third shed and it hasn't come off. Sometimes when that does come off, when it's taken off, you'll see a sore down into their skin. Same kind of thing. So you want to keep it as dry as you can, then keep it and treat it so that you keep it clean. Make sure that they're in a clean environment. See, this would be one of those times when you do not want Repticarpet or anything that's absorbent in there that holds in the bacteria from when they use the bathroom, because if that gets into his sore on his hand, that could be serious. That can end up being a bone infection that could cause an amputation. So, or a systemic infection that can be really fatal to your dragon. So please, please, please keep an eye on them. When you notice their behavior changing, find out why. I mean, this could easily have been a change just meaning, well, he's getting ready for brumation, because he was kind of tired, he was listless. His beard wasn't black, he was just doing not much. So, but it's always a good idea to check. And if I had checked him over and he was completely fine and grouchy and active like he is now, I would have said, okay, well, obviously he's just getting ready for the big sleep and, didn't want to be active today. But nope, he has a sore that needs treatment. So I'm leaving it open to the air now. I did take off the piece of shed as soon as I saw what was going on. So, and it was a little bit hung up where the two fingers are attached. So, I did have to kind of work at it, and I did, come on, Merlin. I did have to kind of keep an eye on him, and I did save the piece of shed because in case I needed to take him to the doctor, which I will do if his hand doesn't improve, because like I said, I'm treating it twice a day and I'm leaving it open to the air. If that doesn't work, I'm going to use the salve that I have and keep it covered with some gauze and some netting. and see how that does. If that doesn't work, then we're headed to the vet. So if I do that, I'm going to take the shed so I can show, where it was and what happened. So that's what's going on. So right now it's just a sore, and I'm trying to keep it from becoming actual scale rot, okay? But that's how easily and how quickly, guys, sometimes you can do husbandry and it's fine, and then something just happens. So in the meantime, as I'm dealing with this, poor little Chimera, the corners of his mouth are just really bad. So now I'm retreating him for the corners of his mouth. So everybody is just crazy. Ruby's still acting like she wants to have another clutch before she sleeps. So I'm telling you guys, if it's not one thing, it's something else with these cute guys. All right. Well, have a good rest of your day, and I'll keep you posted on Merlin and how his little hands are doing. All right. Say bye, Merlin. Bye, everybody. See you later. Have a good day, everyone.